Hello there. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here with me today. Oh, I'm CL, by the way. Today we will be talking about productivity. Why? Because productivity and the shame of not being so-called productive is just rampant in the conversations I have with young adults and students and clients. And so let's talk about it in hopes of maybe alleviating the shame. If productive and this idea of productiveness is driving you a bit bonkers because you are not feeling productive and therefore you are feeling like you are less than or not good enough, or everybody else has some sort of, I don't know, code that they've unlocked to productivity that you don't have. I want to dispel all of those myths because it just ain't true. It just ain't true. So let's go with the definition of productive because I do love definitions. Now, the definition of productive is any action towards a goal. Anytime you make progress towards a goal equals productive. Notice that there's nowhere in the definition of productive that it says you must work 12 hours a day. Nowhere does it say you must be in action with deliverables and outcomes that people can see in a specific format. You must get less sleep. You must whatever, commute. You must be able to check email and multitask and do all those things. That's not in. That's just not in the definition of productive. So I will repeat again the definition of productive. Anytime you are making progress or taking any actions towards a goal. Now, my question to you is, whose goal? Because I think we've been a little bamboozled, right? We have now interpreted and learned that productive is actually based on output. It's based on actions and like how much we work, how much we're able to maybe provide other people in a company. So I'm wondering, try this on. Perhaps the way that we have taken to understand productivity is based on the goals of a company. Most companies are built that, of course, they can have a mission statement, they can do amazing things in the world, but also companies create profit. They are in it. One of the major reasons that we create companies is to also generate cash flow. And we live in a capitalistic society. We live in an industrial age still. So that all happened. And in that process, in order to make profit, we are going to hire laborers. And what do we want those laborers to do? We want them to work, create as much output as possible so that they can then generate profit for our company to keep going. Can y'all see that the goal would be of the company would be to generate profit? And how do they do that? They take action and they make progress towards that goal by having workers work 8, 10, 12 hours a day with actionable outputs, deliverables that they can actually measure. And then repeat until you retire. But can y'all see that that's one type of productivity? That is one company's goal. And we have sort of taken that on as human beings, that that's just what productivity means. Now, here's how it gets incestuous and rude and how we are filled with shame is we have now also linked productivity within this capitalistic corporate world where our productivity is measured by metrics that create profit for a company to keep going, and we are the workers and the laborers. We have now also bought into that makes us valuable as human beings, and that makes us worthy of being human beings. Can we just question that? Because perhaps that's not the only measures. So let's put that one aside. And I'm going to go back to the definition. Am I repeating it for probably the 5th time? I think we're at the 4th time now. Yes, productivity is you make any progress or take any action towards a goal. Now, if you are thinking about your own individual productivity, can you see that it's dependent on your goals? You actually get to define what actions you want to take towards the goals that you want. You get to define it. So let's say you know that you're exhausted. Let's say that you know you want rest. Let's say that you've been scrolling until 1:30 a.m. Let's just pretend that that's not me that I'm talking about. And you know that sleep is important to you and you want to do more of it. Can y'all see that if, for example, my goal is to sleep more, I want to make sure that I'm sleeping 9 hours a night. Anytime I make progress towards that goal of 9 hours of sleep in the evening, well, I sleep in the evening, I'm productive. Perhaps your goal is you want to actually hang out with friends more. You want to be in person with them. You want to be able to dance with them and hug them and watch movies next to each other and throw food at each other. Why did I think about that? I don't know. I was just thinking about popcorn and whatever, the movies. But let's say that you are missing that connection with your friends. If that's the goal, spend more time in person with your friends. Anytime you do that equals productive. Actually, anytime you even start to plan it equals productive. Anytime you communicate with them and keep that relationship close or keep that connection, that's productive by definition. If my goal is to trust these pings and my intuition or my gut feelings of my next step is to be more visible in videos, to lean into the discomfort, to build confidence in this new arena, to be able to experience and acknowledge my value differently, which is honestly what I'm doing here. Anytime I have the courage to show up and speak and experience and even data gather, which is also why I'm here, is I want to find out more and more about what is valuable to y'all, what actually impacts you in real time so that I can lean into that and create more and more methods to support you in ways that matter practically to you and that you can take action on right now, and it makes a difference in the moment. We don't have to wait 3 months or 30 years to be able to start living lives that light us up, and know that we don't have to wait 20 years to start living our lives the way that we want to, that we don't have to do it everybody else's way. Anytime I show up this way equals productive. Why? Because I'm taking action and making little progress towards a goal that I have set equals productive. So my loves, you get to actually recreate and redesign and redefine what productivity means to you. Productivity does not necessarily mean work 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day. It doesn't mean answer all the emails today. It doesn't mean you have to enjoy and feel motivated and passionate to write a freaking paper or to study, or that you go to work every day. You get to say what's important to you in this moment in time. You get to say, what am I learning? What am I growing in? What do I want to become? What are the goals that I want to accomplish? And then you set the steps. And anytime you make any even little incremental steps towards that thing equals productive. And let's talk about those little steps, because I think we minimize the importance. The incremental steps matter. Think of a ladder. If I'm trying to get onto the roof, That's my goal, is I want to get on the roof. Y'all, I'm not Matrix style. I don't have levitation powers. I can't just jump like freaking Twilight and like a vampire and land on my roof. That's not how it works. I gotta go get a ladder. And then I can climb up to the roof one step at a time. That's how I get to the top. That's how I reach my destination. So, all of that to say, you get to state what your goals are, which means anytime you make and take action towards those goals, that equals productive. You then have full say on what productivity means to you. And it's allowed to be in incremental steps so that you can actually accomplish the thing and it doesn't feel overwhelming and it's doable and you're titrating. Yes, it actually then becomes the default. So I hope that helps. If you have any other questions or concerns about it or thoughts about it, let me know and we can talk more. Thanks for being here.